In the fall of 2009, my wife, who's quite the fierce woman, that was her singing over here, wanted to have a conversation with me. As most married men know, you just kind of brace and wait to see what that was. Could be a word of encouragement, could be a word of correction. I didn't know at the time, and so we sat across the table with one another, and she began to voice some concerns she had, really about what she was seeing in me that seemed to be different and strange. I had begun to withdraw. I am 100% an extrovert. People give me energy and strength. I tend to hum frenetically, and I am almost always down to play. And yet I'd begun to pull back. I had begun to not want to go out. I'd begun to want to sit around the house. And she also had the gall in that meeting to say that I seemed to be growing a little bit more irritable. And she was confused at a pattern that was developing that was unlike anything that she had seen in me. And so here's what we chalked that up to. The village had grown by 1,000 a year for 6 years. We had 3 small children, and I was traveling and preaching when I wasn't doing all of that. And so we just decided I was really tired. And so we built out a battle plan to address that. The holidays were coming. The elders of this church have always been super generous to the staff around the holidays, giving us some time to breathe and sleep and catch up on some things. And so we just developed the plan. I was going to, with her blessing, take those few days and sleep in and take naps and do things that make my heart glad and take some more naps and sleep in, and all of which don't come naturally to me. I tend to be an achiever and a grinder. There's a family of origin story there, but that's not for today. And so we did that. I slept in on Thanksgiving morning, the kind of sleeping in that shocks you. You ever done that before? Where you just think, I won't set an alarm, and I'm sure I'll pop up around 6:30, but man, no, I slept. Didn't know what day it was. And got up and headed to the kitchen, and Lauren had been up for a while, and she had just let me sleep, and she was preparing dishes and asked me to give Nora her bottle. And so I took Nora right here, who was 6 months old at the time, and I fed her bottle, burped her, cleaned up the vomit from my shoulder. It's not baby vomit, it's called spit up. It's not really vomit, but it's vomit. And then, like a good dad, put her in her Johnny jump up, because few things make more sense than filling her belly with milk and then putting her in some sort of jostling device. And then I turned to go have a seat, and I woke up in the hospital. I have no memory of what happened between putting her in the Johnny jump up and trying to make it back to my seat. My first memory was of the ER doctor letting me know that they had seen some sort of shadow in my right frontal lobe, and they needed to do an MRI. So we did the MRI. That revealed I had a golf ball-sized tumor in my right frontal lobe, and they wanted me to go see a neurosurgeon immediately. And so that was Thursday. I saw the neurosurgeon on Tuesday. He was like, we've got to get this thing out of you, much to my wife's amen, get it out of him. And that Friday, I underwent an 8-hour craniotomy to remove this golf ball tumor from my right frontal lobe. And then when I woke up, I had what was called a flat effect. It was the result of the trauma to my brain and the surgery. And all that means is all the animation that's a part of my personality was gone. I was still me, and so it freaked people out. Like I wasn't talking with my hands, if you can imagine that, especially if you're a TV seer. And so I was still me, and I could tell that everyone that was coming to see me was upset. And I was trying to kind of alleviate that the way that I have a tendency to do, which is mildly inappropriate jokes. And so I was just like flat effect, not using my hands, and people were like breaking down, crying, and so I'm trying to alleviate it with a real straight, that's what she said. And then they would break down even, I'm sure I'm gonna get an email about that, it's fine. And then like a couple of weeks later, when things had settled, I sat in a room with my neurosurgeon, what would become my neuro-oncologist, and my radiation oncologist, and a couple of family members. And they said to me, the tumor that was in your brain was anaplastic oligodendroglioma, WHO grade 3. It's a malignant, incurable brain cancer, and we're going to start you on low-dose chemo and radiation almost immediately, which we did almost immediately, and then that followed 18 months of high-dose chemo. But what we found out that day is that my kind of withdrawal and my kind of increase in irritation was actually tied to the tumor that was in my brain, so that what was happening on my horizontal plane, my withdrawing from friends, my personality shifts, and my easy to be irritated was actually occurring because death was at work in me, and it was affecting the horizontal plane of my life.